How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another XRP update. A bit of a dampener because the breakout yesterday unfortunately failed. We can never get too excited during the days, but I can only make my videos during the days. And the reason is because the daily candle close is not during the day. It's at the end, at least in the UK. Of course, depending on where you are in the world, it's different times. For example, in America, the daily candle close is like afternoon or evening, whereas here in the UK, it's at 1 a.m. And of course, when I make these videos, I don't want to be making them at 1 a.m. So I give you those certain paths that it can take, whichever you see for that daily candle close, it decides to take. So for example, I'm saying break a certain resistance and that's a trigger for a certain level. For example, break and close a daily candle above the 0.5, that immediately triggers and you'll see XRP get pulled towards $2.55 and $2.61 like a magnet. And so it would get pulled towards there, and then that would be the next resistance point. We know it's where this macro inverse head and shoulders neckline sits at. So short-term rejection makes sense. Maybe pull back towards here and then break through for $3.11, for example. So that's going to give me a bias, and I need to wait for those daily candle close for that bias. And yesterday, during my video update, we had seen XRP actually progressing through the moving averages. So had it actually closed above the moving averages, but still under the 0.5, then the moving averages become support. And that is the resistance, and then it gets closed into a very tight range. Similarly to like what you're seeing on the left over here, where it broken through the moving averages, but stayed under here. And you did spend one day maintaining those moving averages support before a couple days later losing it. But you can see a range was very briefly created between this now as support instead of resistance, like you see here. It's now support for a few days, and then that is resistance ultimately. Now, as we're coming off of this 200 EMA from $2.07, this entire area is resistance, like a massive brick wall. And only when we break through one of them, then it becomes support, and that next layer is resistance. But yeah, while you're approaching it, that whole area is resistance. If we want to progress through this area, the bottom layer has to become support at some point. And then if we get rejected from here, it just needs to keep holding. Similarly to what you saw here, but it didn't actually sustain in the end. It eventually broke down. But that's what we need to see. We need to see this area flip to support, and that's about $2.25. If you actually remember from my video update yesterday, I was saying we need a daily candle close above $2.25. And we just didn't get it in the end. Anyways, in today's update, I'm going to show you those key levels of support that it needs to use as a pivot point in order to see this breakout to the upside. Now, please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share to bump up the algorithm. And we're super close to 10K, so it really would be appreciated if you could help me with that. Now, as long as this low holds, then it should keep attempting the breakout to the upside. So I'm going to sit here and say, while above $2.07, I'm expecting $2.60. So I'm still expecting further upside, but this is dependent on many things, including Bitcoin. Now, if Bitcoin continues to show weakness after a fake breakout, similar to what you see with XRP, and this fake breakout, then eventually this low is going to be lost. By losing this low, it means in the immediate short term, I'm no longer expecting $2.60. So there's a massive weight on this level. $2.07. Mark that out. Keep that in the back of your mind.